Number 36, h of x is equal to 1 over x minus 5 squared plus 4 times x minus 5 plus 4. What value of x is the function h above undefined? Okay, so when do we have a function that is undefined? When we have a 0 on the denominator, correct? Right? So pretty much, if this thing, I don't care what it is, if h of x comes out to be 1 over, because 1's not going to change, 0, well, that will make it undefined for this function, correct? So, pretty much what this question is saying is, hey, what's going to make this entire thing over here on the bottom a 0, right? So, this is how we're going to solve it. Take the whole bottom, right, and then set it equal to 0. All right, and then we'll just solve it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and FOIL this one out. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. And then that would be plus 4x. That's minus 20 plus 4. That's equal to 0. And we'll just add the like terms. X squared stays the same. Negative 10x plus 4x, so minus 6x here. And then 25 minus 20, that's 5 plus 4, that's 9. That's equal to 0. Pretty simple to factor, right? This is going to be x minus 3 squared is equal to 0. So then we get x minus 3 is equal to 0. So x must be 3. So for what value of x is the function of h above undefined? Well, if you plug in 3 for the x into this denominator, that will give you a 0 on the denominator, and therefore your answer is 3. Value of 3 for the x will make this whole function undefined. All right, so 37 and 38 will be dealing with this same information here. So let's go ahead and read it. Jessica opened a bank account that earns 2% interest compounded annually, whatever that means. Her initial deposit was $100, and she uses expression 100 times x to the t power to find the value of the account after t years. 37 says, what is the value of x in the expression? All right, so let's read this one more time carefully. Jessica opened a bank account that earns 2% interest compounded annually. All right, what does that mean? It means she has an account that gives her 2% extra as an interest every year, right? And it's compounded. What compound means is this. So for example, if I start, say I get 10%, right? Say I got 10%. Let's have an easier number to work with. Say I have 10% interest that compounds annually. It means if I had $100, in 1 year, I would have 10% more than this, so 10% extra, meaning 110% of the original. So 110% of $100 would be $110. And then the second round of the year, when I start, I'm starting with $110, right, total. And then after 1 year, I'm getting 10% on top of this guy. So no longer am I getting $10, as 10%. I'm getting 10% of $110, which would be $11. So after the second year, I would have $121. You guys see what compound means? This is what compound annually means. First year, you have 110. It's not that they're going to give you it's not that they're going to give you $10 as your next year interest once again. They're going to give you 10% of what you had, including the interest you already received from the previous year. So that's what the compound annually means, okay? So I hope you guys got that. Now, her initial deposit was $100, and she uses expression this to find the value of the account. So we just need to figure out what that x is. So let's think back to what we did here, right? We first started 100, and then we said since we earned 10% on the next year, it was 110% of the original, and then that's how we got 110. And then the next year after that, we earned 10% on this one. the $110, right? So what happened? It was 110% of this amount, and the next year would be then 110% of the entire thing here, and it just continues on and on and on and on. So what are we really doing? $100 times 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1, so 1.1 to the whatever many power, depending on how many years we go. Does that make sense? So now let's look back to this. She earns 2%. So all we need to do is just replace this 10% with 2%. So we start at the same amount, $100. So she starts with $100. And then the next year, she's going to have 102% of the previous year, aka 1.02. And then the next year, she's going to have 102% of this amount. So 102% of this amount. And then the next year, she's going to have 102% of this entire thing, on and on and on and on. So we can simplify this into 100 times 1.02 to the however many years, right? And compare it to over here. It's got 100x to the t power, right? What's our x then? 1.02, which stands for the fact that she will have 102% of the previous year, and then the next year she's going to have 102% of that year, and so on and so on and so on, compounding annually. All right, so last question, 38. Jessica's friend Tyshawn found an account that earns 2.5% interest compounded annually. So that's a little more than 2% that Jessica earns. Tyshawn made an initial deposit of $100 into this account. At the same time, Jessica made a deposit of $100 into her account. After 10 years, how much more money will Tyshawn's initial deposit have earned than Jessica's initial deposit? Okay, so round your answer to nearest cent and ignore the dollar sign when grading your response. Okay, so we can use the equation that we have previously found in number 37 for Jessica, and let's start from there. So for Jessica, it was it's over there, $100, and then it was 1.02 to the t many years, right? We can use same logic for Jessica for Tyshawn, and we can say $100 that Tyshawn's starting with, and instead of 2%, now it's 2.5% earned. And we can use two different equations like these, and then compare the amount at the end. So let's use different colors. So for Jessica, I'll use red, and for Tyshawn, I will use blue. Okay, so for Jessica, let's start with that. $100, and then 1.02. How many years? After 10 years, right? So to the 10, which should give you 121.8994442 ... right? I hope I'm right. And so we can round it to $121.90. We can round it. And then we've got Tyshawn. So we've got $100 to start with, 1.025. Once again to the 10th power because it's 10 years. And that should be 128.008454 ... So we can roughly round it to $128.01, right? And what are we asked to find? How much more money will Tyshawn's initial deposit have earned than Jessica's initial deposit after 10 years? Well, we just need to subtract the 2, right? So take the number 128.01 minus 121.90, which should give you 6.11. So your answer is 6.11. Ignore the dollar sign and rounding it to the nearest cent. All right, so that was the full workout of the math portion of the first practice test SAT taken straight from the College Board website. If you guys found the video helpful, please subscribe to my channel. And if you had any other question that you would like to ask personally, please leave it in the comments below. And I will see you guys on my next video, which will be the practice test 2 math portion of the SAT.